I did not have sexual relations with that woman. This quote was said in January of 1998 by President at the time Bill Clinton. On June 1st of 1998, he used his attorney-client privilege to keep his secrets in regards to the scandal with Monica Lewinsky. My name is Sarah Walagora, and I was born on June 3rd of 1998, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the trends of the time for this period. So, about the cost of living, a new home costed around $173,000. Today, a new home averages $379,000, which I think is a huge gap for being only 19 years later. A first-class stamp cost 32 cents back then. Today, it costs around 49. A new car costed around $16,000. Very interestingly, the most popular car at the time was the Volkswagen Beetle. This is also my dream car. I would like a baby blue convertible Volkswagen Beetle, and I think it's very ironic that this was the most popular car in my birth month. Gas was around $1.06 a gallon. Right now it's around $2.20, so only $1.10 isn't that bad. Milk has stayed relatively constant since then. It's still around $3.16 a gallon. The median family income was around $40,000. Today it's around $60,000. I would expect the median family income to be more than that 20 years later, but it's not. Minimum wage was only $5.15. I work a minimum wage job, and I don't know how I would function on $5.15 now, where I'm very glad it has raised almost $4 since then. Gold was at $2.93 an ounce. Right now it is around $1,300 an ounce. I think that increase is very crazy, and if you bought a lot of gold in 1998, you can make much more money now. Switching into sports, on June 14th, the Chicago Bulls defeated the Utah Jazz in the NBA Finals, Game 6, 87-86. The famous Michael Jordan actually scored the last shot. It was a buzzer beater. For those golf fans, if there are any, on June 21st, Lee Janzen won the 98th U.S. Open. What I thought was most interesting about this fact is that the U.S. Open started in 1900 because it was the 98th in 1998. On June 30th, David Beckham was ejected from the second round World Cup game for kicking another player. I think that this was a horrible choice, as this really hurt his team just because he wanted to kick somebody. The Stanley Cup in 1998 ran from June 9th to June 16th. The Detroit Red Wings, our team, beat the Washington Capitals 2-1, 5-4, 2-1 again, and 4-1, sweeping the series and winning the Stanley Cup. Some movies that were popular at the time. Mulan came out on June 19th, the famous Disney Mulan that I'm sure many of us still watch. Dr. Dolittle came out on June 26th. Children of the Corn 5, which I was not aware there were many of these movies, came out on June 21st. The Mighty Kong came out on June 16th. And Godzilla came out on May 20th of 1998, but in June it was still one of the most popular movies out there. So, we've heard of many of the movies I've mentioned, and some of us have probably watched them. I did not hear of any of the songs that I found during my research, which I thought was interesting, how movies have progressed through the ages and the songs just kind of stayed there for that decade. I don't think it was a good decade for music, but the two most popular songs were The Boy Is Mine by Brandy and Monica and Too Close by Next. Finally, I'm going to talk about some of the news of the time. So the Discovery Space Shuttle took off on June 2nd on a mission to retrieve Andrew Thomas from the Russian space station Mir. He was there for about 4 months, and I was surprised they returned perfectly fine 10 days later on June 12th. On June 3rd, my birthday, the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line was forced to pay $9 million for expelling oily bilge waste during their cruises. I'm very happy that this happened because my goal is to save marine life, and people who expel waste into the ocean should have to pay a very hefty fine. On June 4th, Terry L. Nichols, who was thought to have conspired in the Oklahoma City bombing, was given a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. This bombing killed 168 people in the Oklahoma City Federal Building. On June 3rd, an HIV vaccine was approved by the Federal Drug Administration for widespread study. This study eventually helped save millions of people's lives by helping to find treatments. On June 3rd, again my birthday, a German high-speed train crashed into an overhead bridge. This was the world's deadliest high-speed train crash to date. 101 people died in this train crash and 88 people were injured. On June 11th, the tuberculosis DNA sequence was decoded by British and French scientists. This has also helped save millions of lives finding treatments for this disease by decoding that DNA sequence. During my research, I thought it was very interesting to see the differences in life, how things have came into our life and how things have stayed in the past, and how different the prices are, and what I still care about today that people cared about back then. So thank you for watching.